Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you the secret to getting a great vocal delay. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about vocal delays, but before we dive in, if you want to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process as a whole and start to really hone your workflow as a mixer, then I have just the thing for you. It is my 7-step mixing checklist. This is a simple PDF that will guide you through the entire mixing process, step by step, to help you get professional and radio-ready mixes without the hassle and without the guesswork. It is completely free. You can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and start looking at our vocal delay. The secret to getting a great vocal delay is actually in the plugins that you put before and after your delay. So we're going to talk about actually 2 compressors that we're going to put on our vocal delay to help it sit in the mix and come up when you need it to come up without muddying up the vocal or getting in the way of our lead line. So actually we're going to create this vocal delay together. I'm not just going to show you a finished vocal delay today. We're going to build it together. So we're going to come over here. We're going to create a new bus channel. I actually have always used buses instead of the effects sends or the effects channels in Studio One. It's probably because I started off on Pro Tools all that time ago. I'm just used to buses here. So we're creating a bus, sending it to our mix bus here. We're going to solo safe it. So in Studio One, if you don't know how to solo safe, you just hold Shift and then click, and it will solo safe it. So it'll solo when you solo your vocal. Now I actually have a start point that I'm going to start with, but I'm going to walk you through it here. So this is 2 analog delays, but we're using a splitter. So if you come up here in this corner, you can use the splitter function in Studio One. We can put a splitter in, and then we can set the splitter to channel split, so we have a left signal and a right signal. So on our left channel here, I have it starting at a quarter note, but what we're going to do is we're going to turn off sync, so it shows us what our quarter note is, and then we're going to set this 10 milliseconds shorter than a quarter note, so we're at 521 instead of 523. We're going to come over here and change this one to 10 seconds longer, so 541. That way each quarter note delay is off by 10 seconds, and that gives us a 20-second delay between them, which is going to make our delay stereo instead of being in mono. If we have both quarter note delays just set at a quarter note, it'll just be putting out the same sound on each side, which equals mono. I'm also going to turn sum off because we don't want the ping pong effect right now. We just want a delay on each side for today's purposes. So we have our delays, one on the left channel, one on the right channel. They're each offset by about 10 milliseconds. And again, they are at 100% wet because we want full effect on both of these. Now let's take a listen to what this sounds like. So we'll come over here to our lead vocal and we'll send to our quarter note delay, and we'll pull this up inside our mix. You can hear the craziness that this sounds like. I can't take it anymore. So it's a cool effect. We get a little bit of that tail on the end, but everything in between really muddies up our vocal, and it gets in the way of our lead line and the lyrics, right? It makes everything a lot harder to understand because the lead vocal's fighting with all the delay that's coming up underneath. So the first thing we're going to do is put on a side chain here. All we're going to do is we're going to pull in the stock compressor inside of Studio One here and put it after our delays, and you want to make sure it doesn't end up on the left or right channel. We want it to be after both of them. So we're going to come here to our compressor now, and I'm going to leave it at about the stock settings it comes up at, which is about a 30 millisecond attack, 120 millisecond release. 3:1 is fine. All we're going to do is we're going to turn on sidechain, and then we can use our sources knob here to make sure we send from our vocal. So that'll create a send on our vocal bus here, all the way up. You want to make sure the send level's at 0 or at unity, and that's sending our signal into our compressor. So what we're doing here is we're sending the signal from our vocal into our compressor that is on our delay. So our lead vocal is going to compress our delay. The effect we get from that is that when the vocal's going, our delay is going to be compressed, and then when the vocal finishes, compressor lets go, and the delay can come up to fill the spaces in between our vocal lines. This makes sure our delay doesn't muddy up our vocal, and we still get that nice tail on the end. So we're going to start here, and I'll just pull down the threshold on this compressor to make sure that when our vocal's going, we're doing about maybe 3 to 6 dB of compression on the delay. That way it's tucked underneath our vocal while it's going here. So you can hear now when our vocal's going, our delay is being compressed a little bit, so it kind of gets tucked under. It's still really loud, but I had that loud on purpose so you could hear what was going on. Let's tuck it back into the mix here. I'm going to leave it a little bit louder there just so it's audible and we can hear it and we can hear what we're doing here for the moment. But as you can tell now, when our lead vocal's going, our delay is being compressed down, so it's being held back so it doesn't muddy up our vocal. But then when our vocal line finishes, compressor lets go and the delay comes up to fill the spaces in between. So we get the benefit of our delay without it fighting with our vocal. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add another compressor, this time before our delays. What this is going to do is make sure the vocal level coming into our delays stays even. That way when there's a louder passage, when the vocalist gets louder, if it's a little bit more dynamic, it doesn't blow up our delay, and then we get a really loud section, but then when he's quieter, we don't hear the delay at all. This way you don't have to fight your level on your delay or automate it up and down all the way through your vocal line. So what we're going to do here is we're going to solo up our delay, and we're going to give it maybe 3 dB of compression just so it holds our level in place so nothing blows up our delay here. I'm holding it in, I'm holding out for your word. Just give me the word, I can't take it anymore. Baby, I'm all the way yours. Baby, I'm all the way yours. Baby, I'm all the way yours. Baby, I'm all the way. Baby, I'm all the way yours. Baby, I'm all the way yours. So we got about 3 dB of compression there on our delay, and then I just took a second there to make sure our level was pretty close before and after the compressor. We'll come back and check our side chain here to make sure the level didn't change too much on the compressor here. I can't take it anymore. Baby, I'm all Now we have a nice even delay that's going to come up and fill the cracks in between our vocal line, but it's not going to muddy up our lead line at all. Let's recap here, okay? So the first thing we're doing, right, we have our delay, we have our stereo analog delay, one on the left, one on the right, split off by about 10 seconds there. Then we're adding our sidechain compressor being fed from our lead vocal, and we're compressing our delay based on our vocal signal by about 6 to 7 dB, so that when our vocal's going, our delay gets held down, and then when the vocal's done, it lets go, and the delay can come up and fill the cracks in between. That's our first piece there, and then our second piece is we're putting a compressor before our delay to make sure the signal feeding into our delays is nice and even. That way, if you have a louder passage, it doesn't blow up your delay, and if you have a quieter passage, you can still hear it. Everything's still audible, and your delay is even, so it's not jumping up and down, and it's all over the place. I hope that was helpful for you. Like I said at the beginning here, if you are ready to take your mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your workflow, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist. Download it below and start creating more professional mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.